I am Elder Ron Brown, Master Sergeant 1 Each retired, U.S. Air Force.
All right, here we go. So, before the Air Force, who were you and what shaped the man you were becoming?
Before the Air Force, I was a young man involved with civil rights. My parents worked for the SCLC in Chicago, and so we were picketing and marching and protesting for, the Poor People's Campaign and things of that nature. In fact, there's a Jet magazine for '69, July '69, that I'm on the cover of.
Nice.
With that, with everybody else, Reverend Jackson leading, but right to the left on that picture. But civil rights was one of the things that my family was involved in, so that's what we were in. And then I became a dad. My first son was born, and it was like, okay, I need to be serious. Now, I had already gone to DeVry Institute of Technology and got electronics under my background. So that made it easy for when I took the ASVAB to ace the ASVAB.
So the next question is, how old were you when you went into the military, and why did you choose Air Force?
I was 21, I turned 21 in basic training. And I chose the Air Force because, number one, my dad was in the Korean War, and he was Air Force. And when I chose them, they said, well, you can choose any electronics job you want to go into from my score. And so I was like, okay, that's good. I wanted to be a recording engineer back then, and the closest thing I could become to recording engineer was a tech controller.
Okay. So before you enlisted, what did you believe the military would be like for you, especially coming off being part of the civil rights movement, and how close was that to the truth?
Well, it wasn't blatant racism in the sense that we were dealing with. When we came in, you thought everybody was getting a fair shake. And so if you're following the rules and the regulations, then everybody should be fair in that manner. My dad was an inspiration. My grandparents was an inspiration to, how they say it back in the old, oh, you going into service? Made you feel good, like he was doing something. Mm-hmm. So that's what kind of made me gravitate in that.
So was it what you believed it would be? Because you mentioned it wasn't, you experienced no?
Oh, we did.
Yeah, it was interesting times, I would say, especially sitting in from our view. It's like, wow. Because for us, it was blatant. We all knew what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
They just didn't verbalize it.
And, it took me going to a retirement that some of them same people came to me and said, when the chief that was retiring said, he asked me to be his honored guest and everything, and he said, anytime I had some troubles or tough times and going through some things, I went to run. And everybody started looking, and they'd say, well, I remember one of the senior officers came and said, wow. So when I went to him for advice, I was basically coming to you. Like, okay.
It is what it is.
It is.
All right. What was your very first moment in the military where you realized race was going to matter?
Race was going to matter. Now you got me digging back. That's 36 years worth of stuff. And
Wow.
I retired in '07, so the first assignment for me was in tech school, I guess, was, Keesler. And when I went to Keesler, I was the only black in the building.
I believe it.
Okay. And so in tech control school, so when you go out on break, you got the bigoted white boys that would tell their black jokes. And then you got those that would come over as if they were consoling me. It's like, man, I done worked in the civil rights movement and know what is out there. And that level of stuff doesn't bother me. Okay, as long as he don't put his hands on me, we good. You know, but that it was tech school. You know, that, you know, and knowing that there was that whole cluster, you know, of that was having that kind of conversation and stuff. Yeah, okay.
And it was just right there in your face.
It's right there, because I'm the only black in the school, you know, and later on a few more came, and it's like, okay, well, you know, and they had some rank on them too, because they were coming out of Vietnam, so they were like, okay.
Okay. Did you ever feel like you were fighting two battles at once? One for your country and then one for your dignity as a black man? Yes,
because I knew that I had to set an example. You know, outside of my dad, Tuskegee Airman Chappie James was one of my inspiring heroes. He reached the pinnacle of what he was doing and became a 4-star general. And following his career and the things that he was doing, I wanted to be able to say that I've reached a certain level of successes. And one caveat to that was I had a consecutive overseas tour. So in the Air Force, if you have a consecutive overseas tour, you get to choose where you want to go back to in the States. So obviously it's like, well, where else would I want to go? I'm going to go to Chappie's house. You know, I went to NORAD. And so that was a beautiful thing for me then.
That's funny because I did back-to-back. They gave me I chose, but they gave me 2 assignments. Either go back to Minot, North Dakota, or then go to Holloman.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have my choice of where I wanted to go.
Okay.
I just had a choice.
Wow. Wow.
That was crazy.
Okay, so we're looking at the early 80s during this time for me.
I'm looking at early 90s.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Can you share a moment when you were treated differently because you were a black man in a uniform and how it stayed with you?
You know, I think that one of the things that, for me, I, you know, strive to be the best of whatever it is that I do. And so, I saw others having issues, and I needed to figure out a way that I could help them bridge the gap that they were experiencing. I didn't have a lot of direct that I can think of that was kind of bothersome. I remember marching, and this white boy, because he was behind me, would kick me as we were marching. And it's like, okay. So I managed, okay, well, let me fix this, because it always wound up being we're going to have this thing, and I didn't want to have, you know, to go to blows and do stupid stuff. So it's like, okay, well, I did what it took to put on the rope, and now I'm telling you where to go.
The first one that always sticks out with for me, because my first base was SAC.
Okay.
And I was security police. Only female.
Oh wow.
And black.
Oh wow. Wow.
So yeah, they had me outside digging weeds with a screwdriver. Yeah. Yeah, that always sticks out for me.
Yeah. The degrading tasks that they had us on, I remember having to pick up trash on detail.
Oh yeah, I always got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Always got it.
And it was going to pick up cigarette butts and stuff like that, and you know, it's like, oh,
base beautification. I always got it.
And I remember people picking up pine cones and everything. It's like, Mother Nature put that down there. I'm not picking that up. You know, I'll pick up the trash, but I'm not going through here to do what y'all, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so post 9/11, you got the news you were deploying to Qatar. Was it a hard discussion with your family?
We were actually, we were supposed to go to, we were going to Cairo.
Okay.
And that was one of those decisions that I felt, why should we be going to play games when something real has happened? I was hurt, you know, that attack kind of festered with me because it's like, you know, not since, you know, the bombing at in Hawaii, you know, the attack on Hawaii, did America ever get, you know, violated like that. So when I talked to my family, you know, they were, well, you know, you just be careful. They were always praying people, and so am I. So it's like, you know, we knew that we were, in fact, it was, you know, caveat, it was this military where I got saved. And then that just changed the dynamics of my thought processes and everything. But I always knew that I was covered. You know, had grandma's prayers.
Okay. What sacrifices did you make for duty and country?
Family.
Tell me more.
Family. Okay, so I'm a dad. I'm a dad, blended family of 11. And I brought 7 to the party. And so, being away for, you know, their growth at early stages and ages was a major sacrifice. You know, years that I wish I had. You know, I miss, you know, when you got little babies and you come home and it's, Daddy, you know, that just, you know, blows the head and the heart up, you know, like, wow. And then when you have to talk to them, we didn't even have video conversations back then. You know, you get a line in that you could, and then have a conversation and talk to them. I love you, Daddy loves you, I'll see you soon, type of thing. That was a major sacrifice.
Do you regret anything?
No, because it paved the way to who I am.
Okay.
You know, you become rigid when you need to, structured, you bend where you need to. Okay, but you know, I am grateful that this was a choice available for me.
What parts of your experience did you have to stay silent about and just survive? Or were there anything about your experience in the military that you had to stay silent about to survive?
Well, the injustice that I figure happened when that line number was reassigned. Okay, that kind of ticked me off. Most cases, if somebody puts a roadblock in front of me and says, well, you can't because you don't qualify or whatever, the overachiever in me says, okay, watch. You know, it's like the time that they wanted people to pass this particular test, you know, as you were going from, I guess it was master to tech. I mean, correction, from staff to tech. And they're like, okay, well, we'll give you $100 if you ace the test. Okay, well then they say, yeah, and the other chief said that, and then our flight commander said it too. Then it's like, okay, $200, you own. And I obviously aced the test.
Did you get your money?
I got my money and to visit the Lockheed to fly the C-130 simulator.
Okay. Okay. It sounds like you, and I don't know how to say it other than, because I've seen a lot of brothers succumb to the racism. Especially my first duty station, he was, you might as well put the sheet on him.
Okay.
Because he lined us up and was kicking us out as soon as he get anything.
Wow.
Or putting you in jail.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see someone didn't have to succumb to some of that stuff. So congratulations on that one.
Amen.
Now that you're retired, do you feel the country honors your service in retirement the way it should?
No.
Tell me more.
America sucks when it comes to veterans and seniors. We don't do a decent job of recognizing the sacrifices that both categories make. And now I qualify for both. You know, as a senior, you know, we as Americans don't appreciate the platinum on the roof here. And even in our most cultures, they revere their elders. Okay, in America, it's like, get out the way. You know, as a kid growing up, they used to say little children should be seen and not heard. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the same thing that they do for seniors. You should be seen and not heard. All right, and sometimes don't be seen. Okay, but as a veteran now, you know, it's like, you ask a place you go to, y'all have a veterans discount? No. You know, it's like, y'all suck. Okay, and I mean, I'll say it sometimes directly. It's like, why? You know, what does somebody that, you know, and again, I was one of those who, okay, I came back with 10 fingers and 10 toes and, you know, I got all my parts, but what about this one that didn't come back with all the parts? You know, what is it that they don't, and, you know, I'm going to say it because America is not good when it does what it does to marginalized communities. So that trickles down even into the black community where they don't respect the uniform because they don't feel America has done anything for them, especially the youth, that will want them to be reverential towards the military. Okay, they always look at us as the big billy club type of thing versus somebody with compassion or the first line of defense, so to speak. So I think that that was one of the things as, I laid out with America sucks when it comes to dealing with veterans and seniors.
Is there anything you think that, how can we change that? I don't know, or is it too far gone? So we've been doing it so long of shitting on veterans.
It can be done if you put the emphasis out there. We get one day, Veterans Day. People don't know the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. So,
they do not.
You know, Happy Memorial Day. It's like, no, it's not Happy Memorial Day. It's Honor Memorial Day. Because you are honoring those that have given the ultimate sacrifice. You know, Happy Veterans Day is fine, okay? But again, you've given up something. You made a sacrifice to something that not everybody want to do, okay? And because we did it, we put up with the crap that went along with it, okay? And, you know, I know too many other brothers and sisters that did go through crap, you know? And I guess, you know, the favor that I was shown over early stages made me who I am in that when you know the regulations. So one of my brother-in-law went into the military, and I remember we having a conversation in basic, and he said, treat it like a game, okay? It's like chess. And, you know, I used to always tell people, even when we were on the streets, you can't beat the system if you don't know the system. So you have to know. So I became regulation fluid. Okay, I'm a manual reader. I want to know the details. I want to know the why. And then if there's something that needs to be changed, be the caveat to say, hey, this doesn't work here, let's make that change. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that was one of the things.
Okay. So if, talking about our youth, so if a young black man asked you whether to join, should they join the Air Force today, what would you tell them?
I would tell them yes.
Why?
You will be ahead in technology with what you will get from there. Right now, everybody's saying, oh, well, you got to get this level degree, this certification to be able to do. You'll get that in the Air Force without going through all of that. It's a rapid pace training environment. And if I look at it, the whole realm, if you're not at war, you're in training. And so that's the mindset that you have to go in. You're always learning. You're always grasping knowledge. And, that's kind of the benefit that God has always given me, to be able to learn and to see what's going on. So, yeah, I would definitely encourage. I have a son that went Navy, and his son went Navy. So, and he's still in. So, that's fine. They didn't choose the best. That's on y'all. Y'all want to work for a living. We get paid to think.
My husband asked, because he knows some of the things that I've been through as it relates to the military, and he's like, you would actually recommend for someone to go in, especially someone of color? I was like, yes, but, and I said, I would definitely warn them, this is what you will probably come across.
Yes.
And I will warn them about going into certain fields.
That part.
Yeah.
And that's what I've actually told a few, that when they find out that I'm in the Air Force and they were saying I was considering going, it's like, well, you got to look at it. What are you going to do when you come out? Okay. When my son went in the Navy, it's like, look, I don't want him having a job painting boats. Okay, because what kind of job he's going to get when he come out. So, he went in as an air traffic controller.
Okay. Yeah, so I would still recommend, but yeah, there would definitely be some, this is what you might come across.
Be ready for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, it's like, a parallel is the healthcare system. We as blacks don't contribute to the things in the healthcare arena. So that's an issue where you get these studies and they say cholesterol is this and diabetes is this and all that, but even the blood in the system, it's not very many black folks giving blood in comparison to the other ethnicities.
All right, finish this sentence. I served my country faithfully, but the cost was
tremendous. The cost was tremendous right now because I gave body parts.
Tell me about it.
The PACT Act says that if you were involved or around, let's say paraphrasing, it's maybe about 14 countries, and you've been around burn pits. Well, we got TS clearances, so we had to deal with classified. And we had to deal with classified from its coming in and its treatment and its destruction.
Wait a minute, is Guam part of that PACT Act?
Huh?
I said, I'm going to have to go back and look.
Exactly. It's about 14 countries. I was assigned to 3 of them.
Okay.
And I didn't know up until April 3rd. I woke up with an excruciating pain. Fast story, I get to Emory, Decatur, and they say, well, you have 2 large kidney stones, and you have a carcinoma on your left. And like, what you talking about, Willis? Okay. I know what carcinoma means. The pain that we're dealing with here, but you saying I got, so fast forward, it's like, oh yeah, well, we're going to have to take it out. And it's like, okay. And I didn't realize that taking it out means we take your left kidney and we're going to take your left adrenal gland, because they're basically connected. And so, yeah, I gave up body parts.
What truth about being black needs to be said publicly?
As it relates to your time in the military.
A song always pop up into my head when I think of things of this nature. No. Truth about being black is we are the innovators, which we need to get back to that, because we were the cusp of creating and innovating during Reconstruction. Okay, you can't get by. This is Black History Month, and so everybody's going to tell you the things that we invented and the things that we did, from the dustpan to the traffic light, that affects everybody. But there's so many more things laced in there, and so no matter how they want to whitewash it, it is fact that we have made strides in this country. And, you know, it may take a say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud moment again for us to realize that, yeah, we created this, yeah, we did that, yeah, we got hidden figures, yeah, we got things of this nature that shows we excel by leaps and bounds.
All the time.
All the time.
Yes.
We were always grown up taught you got to do twice as much or more than what the others have to do.
Yeah, just to be looked at as
Just
equal.
to be considered.
Yeah. So when history tells the story of men like you, what do you hope it finally gets right?
That we were there. Don't exclude us. We played a major part. Sometimes, you know, out of humility, we don't do a good job of telling our own story.
Agreed.
You know, it would be nice to say, well, you know what? Have you seen my LinkedIn profile? Have you read my resume? Do you know who I am? You know, it's like a forum like this gives that insight on somebody saying who we are, because we have that ability to say, I'm just not the run of the mill, but I don't walk around with a uniform on anymore to be able to say, hey, this is who I am, you know. So something needs to be done along those lines that allows us to tell our story.
Anything else you want to take us out with and tell us about Ron Brown and his journey?
Ron Brown's journey has been predestined. I didn't realize it, you know. God knew, you know, Jeremiah 29:11 says, you know, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, okay? And we don't realize that sometimes unless you connect. Well, you know, anybody that's a non-believer really don't know that's in the word that says that. So we have to be able to go out and tell the story of how have you been purposed to do what you do. I'm a dad, and I'd like to think I'm a pretty decent dad. My children tell me they love me. So, you know, I know that this whole element of being in the military gave me the catalyst to succeed and excel. When I came out in '84, telecommunications was really the birth by the split up of AT&T, and they needed us worldwide, and I was a pioneer in that arena. And then you know, knowing that abilities were there and I was able to capture and take advantage of it made a big difference in the lifestyle that I live today, the benefits that I enjoy today. You know, they all were foundationally given to me through the Air Force and by the grace of God.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.
All righty. Blessings upon you.